What's going on with y'all? My first time
Yeah,
going live with the classes.
on
Just
44 shit, you
so
know what I mean?
questions and anything
Busy
like that.
man, busy man. Uh. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and they head with that shit. Friday, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel, he nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, I'm too solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real. I got real soldiers, kill for me, nigga, watch yourself. They say you been in beast mode lately, you is not yourself. When you dropping that fire, precious minds, they inquiring. They can't stop what's coming, but I see them conspiring. Cross the line, them firing. This bitch here, finna break the spin. No kindness, I don't trust you, circle small. You can keep your features. Me and my niggas don't keep no secrets. In the field like Jeepers Creepers. Say they want some smoke, dawg. So I brought these chimney sweeps. Coming like we coming, you can't even cap. These niggas don't run it like we run it, bitch, don't even start. Bitch, I'm with my niggas till the end, till them do us part. So if you wanna leave, you can leave, bitch. Bless your heart, fine in. I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel, he nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. I heard they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rate for real. Take over in effect, yeah, I'm fully focused. You might not see it on me, just know it's women, that bitch fully loaded. Ooh, yeah, we up and rolling. Told them I need major motion. Think I'm joking, I'ma school them niggas like they baby Jody. Got it out the dust, now I'm too clean, don't know why they hate me. What you want out life, dawg? Guns and butter, baby boy. You PK top, dawg. Certified road runner. I'ma turn that econ line van to a damn tank. I got chopper stash in that attic like they Anne Frank. They had that shit on lock till I snapped on them like ball cutters. You cannot play both sides, gotta choose your colors. See him throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Fine in. I ain't show no mercy, I'm gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the dust, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel, he nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a made, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. Said they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real.
All right. Shalom. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Calvin Soccer will hold down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2026, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth according to this book called the Bible. You understand? Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been holding classes. What we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible, to reclaim the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has put inside of this book called the Bible, so that we can reclaim our righteous place on the earth as kings, priests, princesses, and daughters of Zion. In this book called the Bible is all of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that's required for us to become who the Lord called us to be, and that's what we aim to do with these classes. So if you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the ISUPK. With that being said, I'd like to start the class off with questions. If any brothers or sisters online have any questions, y'all can type them in. If there's any questions in the room, you can raise your hand. If there are no questions, then we'll get into the topic of tonight's class. What you see on the screen is bread and circus. All right, bread and circus. So for my brothers and sisters that's normally tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, you may see me looking off to the side. more often this class than I have previously. That's because I got my TikTok going on a separate screen. So I got TikTok on a separate screen for all the brothers and sisters tuning in on the TikTok. You know what I'm saying? The same goes for you all. If you got any questions, just type them in. Any comments or whatever, you type them in and we'll get to them. If there are no questions, you can just get your Bible out, take notes, and we'll go ahead and get into the breakdown. All right. So I'll give y'all a couple seconds to get any questions. And if there are no questions, we'll go ahead into the topic of tonight's class. Of course, bread and circus alludes to an old Roman philosophy that they utilized to keep the people who they were oppressed in subjection. You understand? You go back into the history of the Roman Empire. The Romans were famous, in history for having gladiator sports, having fights in the arenas and all types of spectacles and showcases. And the Romans were, skilled in knowing how to keep their slaves in line, knowing how to keep the people who they ruled over, distracted and divided. And they utilized sports entertainment to do it. And so a lot of what we're seeing today with sports entertainment is really an ancient tool by the powers that be to keep the people who they were lording over in line. And right now in 2026, with all of the evil going on in this place called America, you know what I'm saying? We just saw the New York Knicks winning the basketball championship. Everybody was celebrating in the streets and everybody all happy in New York City. You understand? The World Cup is going on right now here in America. So you got all of these people from all of these countries all over the earth coming to America to celebrate. You turn on your TV, you're seeing the scores of all the soccer games, and everybody is excited. Everybody's having a good time. Meanwhile, America is falling. Meanwhile, we're living in a country, you understand, that is the oppression has been elevated dramatically in the last few years. We're living in a country where the economy is falling. You understand? They got ICE out here deporting people left and right. They, taking people, snatching them out of their homes and putting them in concentration camps. You understand? It's straight up fascism and racial oppression like we haven't seen in the government in many, many years. And everybody is continuing like everything is okay because of the distraction that's made by the bread and circus. And so what we're going to do with this class is go into the Bible and show you the history of athletic sports entertainment, show you what the Bible says about, participating in competitions against your brothers and sisters, what the Bible says about putting on and entertaining for your oppressor, and what the Bible says about the condition of the people who are being oppressed, who are forced to participate in these athletic competitions. All right. So again, if anybody got any questions, type them in. If not, just get your notepad out, get ready to take some notes. All right. First, we're gonna go into some scriptures in the Bible concerning the wickedness of this bread and circus, concerning the wickedness of this entertainment industry that largely is built on the backs of slaves, largely is built on the backs of the people who have been oppressed, the people who have been ruled over. And you look across all the major athletic sports in America, the people who dominate in those sports are the descendants of those who were in captivity, the children of the diaspora, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We dominate in all the major sports in America. We dominate in basketball, dominate in football, we dominate in baseball. You understand? We just now getting a taste of that hockey. You understand? We just getting a taste of hockey. Come on, you look at soccer right now. You look at the World Cup teams. The majority of the World Cup teams, even the European teams, are made up largely of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And it's because we are the people that the Most High gave those physical gifts, gave those tools to be superior humans over everybody. And I'm going to go in the Bible and show you that. I'm going to show you why so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians dominate in all the major sports across the earth, and what the Bible says about the gifts that God gave us physically to make us superior to all people on the earth. All right. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 7. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. And then we're going to get a New Testament where Christ described us as being above all the other nations as well. All right. So we're going to get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Then we're going to get Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. All right. Let's go ahead and get it. All right. Starting again, if any brothers and sisters online, anybody want to come in and read for me on the YouTube or the Facebook, just say "con" and I'll put the link in there for you. All right. If not, I'll go ahead and read it. If you jammed up or if you got something going on, you ain't gotta sweat it. But if you want to come in and read, you can. All right. Just let me know out there. All right. So first scripture we're going to is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Most High thy God. The Most High thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth." You understand? Right there in the book of Deuteronomy, the Most High told the children of Israel that he made us to be above everybody, made us to be a special people. You understand? Now, what did God give us to make us above everybody? He gave us his law, statutes, and commandments. He gave us his culture, gave us the way of life that is righteous, that we were supposed to embrace and adopt and live by so that we could show everybody else on the earth what's the right way to live. If we would have taken the Most High's laws and taken the covenant that he made with our forefathers, if we would have embodied that lifestyle, then everybody on earth would look at us and say, "God damn, this people is amazing and great. Look how successful they are in all their endeavors. Look at how much power and influence they have." They would marvel at our physical prowess and understand that these people are physically dominant, physically superior, because they are the chosen people of the Most High. But because we have not obeyed the Most High, because we have not kept his law, statutes, and commandments, the other nations only can see our greatness in our physical accomplishments. They only can see our greatness in how much we dominate in all of the athletic entertainment fields. And that's not what the Most High intended for us when he made us above all nations. The Most High didn't allow us to be great just so we could be physical entertainment for everybody else. He didn't endue the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man with all of the physically dominant traits so we could go and entertain everybody. We were supposed to be taking this gift that the Lord gave us. We were supposed to take the dominance that the Most High made us with, and we were supposed to go and keep his laws and rule the earth. How is it that the people that are the most physically dominant are in captivity? How is it that the people that are the most physically dominant are the ones who are, on the bottom? That's a result of us not obeying the Most High. It's a result of us not doing what the Most High called us to do and being the people that he called us to be, all right? Now let's get Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Matthew 5 and 13 is Christ in the New Testament describing and explaining why this people that the Most High made so great is on the bottom, why we're on captivity. You understand? Once again, you look at all of the sports entertainment around the world. Look at boxing. Who are the number one fighters on the planet? So-called blacks and Hispanics. You understand? Look at the UFC. Who the number one fighters? Who the ones that created the number one martial arts in the earth? That whole jiu-jitsu, that's a Brazilian martial art started by some cats down there that, physical prowess. You look at any of the other athletic sports out there. We number one. We dominating, man. White men been playing golf since forever. Tiger Woods, whose daddy was a black man, getting that golf, and he took over, number one. That's just how we do. Why? Because we are the special people that the Most High chose. Now we're going to go into the New Testament and get Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. And this is Christ talking about the children of Israel and explaining and describing how it is that we fail, how it is that we are not on top and not ruling the earth. Everybody understands? Matthew chapter 5, verse 13 says, "Ye are the salt of the earth." You understand? What does it mean that we're the salt of the earth? It means we're the flavor. You understand? You put salt. Salt is used for what? Salt is used to flavor, and salt is used to preserve. You think, look at how what makes America different from Russia? What makes America different from China? What makes American culture, so popping and popular, and everybody wants to adopt it? It's black people. You understand? The slaves of America is what makes American culture amazing. When you think about American foods, what do you think about? Fried chicken, hamburgers, hot dogs. Where do you think that food came from? What is a staple American dinner meal? Somebody out there, if you knew somebody from that was not from America, and they wanted to have an American dinner, if you wasn't going to take them to McDonald's or KFC, What would you feed somebody who's coming from another country that wants a traditional American dinner? I want y'all to take some seconds and just describe it for me on TikTok, on the Facebook and YouTube. Describe to me a traditional American dinner. And I guarantee what you come up with is a black people's dinner, a Latino dinner. You understand? You go back to the days of captivity. We were the ones doing all the cooking. If the massa had an event, them Caucasian women wasn't in there cooking. They wasn't seasoning no food. They had us in there doing all the goddamn cooking. We the ones that provide all the sustenance for this nation. We nurtured and fed everybody. Our oppressor came over here, didn't even know how to grow no goddamn food. They didn't know how to grow corn. They didn't know how to grow, collard greens. All of the things that make American culture great came from black people. I'm still waiting for somebody to give me a dinner. You understand? Mackie Miami said, Dino Nuggets, you on joke time. Whoever that is said, why are you talking about food? We talking about American culture. You understand? We in Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, Christ said, ye are the salt of the earth. Talking about the children of Israel. The children of Israel are the ones that make everything great. We're the ones that dominate in everything. I already talked about our physical prowess. Now I'm talking about culturally. What makes American culture better than Russian culture? Because America had slaves. Black people, we pioneered in all musical industries. Rock and roll was pioneered by black people. Jazz, R&B. Don't forget, I only need to talk about rap and hip hop. Think of all the dances that blacks have introduced. All of the major dances from the 1960s all the way through today, black people have created. If it wasn't for black people being slaves in America and pioneering culture, white people would still be doing the river dance. White people would still be lining up and tap dancing in a row. You understand? Think about the food again. We're the ones doing all the cooking in America. We're the ones that fed the slave master. Nobody can typical American dinner. I'll tell you what a typical American dinner is. Typical American dinner, somebody said lamb chicken combination with jasmine rice and salad. That's a black dinner. You understand? You understand? Russell Green said we would have starved. Many cultures have said they taught us agriculture. Absolutely, Russell. You do not know culture. Your people have never been able to be successful on any land on the planet growing and sustaining themselves. That's because the Most High cursed our oppressors the way he cursed Cain in the Bible. Cain was cursed so that the earth would never yield any fruit for him. And our oppressors are the descendants of Cain. Anything they touch, that's why right now we live in a country where they got to create seeds in a lab for our oppressor to be able to grow food. That's where all these GMOs come from. It come from our oppressor trying to not starve to death. They in the lab, they messing with the genetics of the fruit, messing with the genetics of the seeds, just so they can have an agricultural industry. We the ones that pioneered all that agriculture. When the so-called oppressor came over here and enslaved us, we were the ones that was growing the rice, growing the sugar cane. We were the ones growing the collard greens, growing the corn. They didn't have no knowledge of that. They didn't have no understanding. Where do Europeans come from? They come from the caves and the mountains. They don't come from agriculturally rich lands. They come from where they got to eat whatever they can catch. That's why our oppressor eats pig. That's why he eats shellfish. He goes scoop at the bottom of the water and get whatever he can catch. You understand? They don't have any knowledge of agriculture. They don't have any knowledge of these things. The Lord gave it to us. You read in the Bible, the knowledge and the wisdom that the Most High gave to Adam was the knowledge of agriculture, the knowledge of domesticating animals, the knowledge of what to eat and what not to eat, what to have sex with, what not to have sex with. Our oppressor never had none of that. You understand? I'll tell you a traditional American dinner. If I knew somebody that was not from America that came over here, you understand, that I wanted to treat them to a good old dinner, I would serve them some chicken. It could be fried or baked. I would serve them some chicken that's well seasoned. I would do some mashed potatoes with some gravy. You understand? Turkey gravy, mashed potatoes with some turkey or chicken gravy. I would do some collard greens. I might do some sweet potatoes, some yams with some corn, and some cornbread. Where do you think that came from? That came from black people. That's a black meal. That's a Southern black meal. White man didn't come up with that. White man didn't create that. Everybody understands. All of these things that we have that's great, the Most High made them. I mean, the Most High gave them to us. We the ones that pioneered all the great cultures. We the ones that pioneered all the things that make America amazing. You understand? Russell Green is in the chat talking about, what am I talking about? I'm talking about our oppressor being the devil that the Bible speaks of and never having any culture. I'm reading Matthew 5:13, where Christ is talking about the children of Israel, and he said, ye are the salt of the earth. Let me keep reading. This is further in Matthew 5:13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden underfoot of men. You understand? And that's what happened to the greatness that the Most High gave to the children of Israel. He made us to be above all these nations. He made us to be the pioneers of culture and civilization. He made us to be physically dominant over all these other nations, which is why we're number one in all of the sports entertainment industries. Blacks and Hispanics lead the field in boxing, in basketball, football, in soccer, in tennis, you understand, in golf. We're number one in everything. Why are we so physically dominant? Because Deuteronomy 7:6, the Lord said he made us a special people to be above everybody else on the earth. But because we didn't keep the Most High's laws, because we didn't stand in the righteousness that he gave us, Christ is saying, you were the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses the flavor that made it great, then it'll be good for nothing. That's how we are today. We're discarded. That's why we're oppressed in this place. You understand? That's why we've fallen so much, because our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of and does not want us to know that we are the Most High's chosen children. You understand? So where did the idea of taking slaves and putting them into sports come from? Where did the idea of taking slaves and putting them into entertainment even come from? And what purpose does it serve in modern society? Why is sports such a big industry? Why is it such a major deal? I'm going to give you the history on the Roman philosophy behind the bread and circus. All right. Now, I used to be able to do this with Google. I would go to Google, I would type in bread and circus, and Google would give me the history of it. Now, Google has changed, and I got to get the AI overview of it. You understand? Here's the AI overview of bread and circus. It said, bread and circuses, Latin panem et circenses, is a famous phrase coined by the Roman poet Juvenal. It describes a government strategy of pacifying the public by providing superficial appeasement, specifically cheap food and lavish entertainment, to distract citizens from political realities and avoid civic unrest. Everybody understands? That is the AI overview of bread and circuses. In this case, AI overview did what I wanted it to do. Most times the AI overview was a bunch of slop and BS that I would much rather have a source to break down than to depend on what the internet is telling me. But I think that's pretty succinct what Google just provided there. Bread and circus is something that was coined in the Roman Empire. And for the Romans, bread and circus was used to distract the people from all the horrible oppression that was going on by the empire. Roman Empire was famous for keeping their foot on the necks of their citizens. And when the citizens was getting ready to blow up and getting ready to protest, they rolled out the bread and circus. Now, who was a part of the bread and circus that they had in what's the name? One West Boston. Do me a favor. See if you can join in. Let me see if I can. How do I do this? How do I add people onto the jump? Okay, I just invited you, Boston. Let me see something. I'm gonna invite the sister too. I'm gonna invite a couple people, see if they come in here. All right, now I see the little junk right there. Hey, shalom, my Lord in Christ.
Shalom,
You was just jump right there.
I'm at the slave.
No, you can put it on mute. I was told when I did this to bring y'all in so y'all could bring y'all people in and everybody could see what's going on. So yeah, you good to go. Huh? You understand? Now, the bread and circus was used to reel in the people and to bring them on in to the bread and circus was used to distract the people from all the evil that was going on, to distract the people in Rome from the horrible things the government was doing, from the stuff going on in the economy, and to keep the people from rioting. Well, guess what? The bread and circus is used the same way in America today. Right now, we are in the evilest, one of the evilest times of the American empire. You understand? Historically, things have never been as bad as they are now. And I'm talking about financially. I'm talking about with the corruption in government. You understand? With all the evil they doing to the people, the deporting of our Latino brothers and sisters with ICE, all of these horrible things that's taking place in America. Why is it that people haven't rioted? Why isn't that people haven't overthrown the government? Why is it that the people seem to be distracted? That's because of the bread and the circus. You understand? Athletic sports entertainment has kept the people distracted. You understand? And you look at sports, if you look at the calendar of American sports, the sports are designed to kick in to the playoffs and the serious times in the sports right around the time when people would otherwise be ready to revolt, ready to do something. The only time you don't have major sports going on in America is during the summer. And guess what's going on during the summer? During the summertime, people are eating and drinking and having barbecues and having a good time. As soon as the dead of winter hit, here come the middle of football season. The basketball season kicking off. You understand? Then when football ends in February, you got the NBA All-Star break. Then after the All-Star break, the playoffs kick in June. They keep you distracted with the sports to where even when you want to riot, even when you want to protest, even when you want to go and blow something, go and do something about the problem in the society, here comes the bread and circus to keep you distracted. We just witnessed it with the basketball playoffs with the New York Knicks winning the championship. New York is one of the most overpriced, horrible places to live on earth right now. But guess what? In New York, even though it's overpriced, even though it's a horrible place to live, the New York Knicks just won the championship. And the people of New York have forgotten about their problems, forgot about their suffering, forgot about how difficult it is for them to make a living, forgot about, just how hellacious and oppressed their lives are. And that's on purpose. You understand? They just had a fight on the White House lawn. Donald Trump knows Caucasian history. Donald Trump knows what to do to keep the people distracted. You want to know why he tore down that lawn or the White House, why he tore down that East Wing to build a ballroom? Because Donald Trump knows what gets white people excited, what keeps them in line. He threw a damn fight on the White House lawn, UFC 250, and guess what? They tuned in. Everybody watched. It was like watching the UFC this past weekend was like that scene in the Django. Them rich white men got up there in that room and had their drinks, and they wanted to see somebody lose their life. They wanted to see somebody, scrounging and fighting and biting and bleeding and broken bones and knocked out, all for their entertainment. It's something that's, this is a thing in our oppressor that's ancient. This is in their DNA, to be bloodthirsty watching someone lose their life. Why do you think there was once upon a time in America, hell, not once upon a time, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they would take slaves, take black people, and they would have public executions? Why do you think the origin of the term picnic was such a big thing in the South in America? Because it reminded them of what it was like back in those Roman days. They would go find some weak brother, some brother that was, couldn't defend himself. They all gather together and beat them up and make them all bloody. Then they get a rope and throw it around a tree and they string them up, and they would all stand there and celebrate and drink and laugh as this person lost their life, took their last breaths hanging from a noose. Then after it was over, so they would have a souvenir to take home with themselves, they would cut the body up, take a toe, take a middle finger, take an ear, take some genitals. That's in our oppressor's culture. That goes back to the days of the Romans with the bread and the circus. Here we are in 2026 playing for the New York Giants, losing the ACL. Here we are playing for the Boston Celtics, tearing an Achilles. You understand? Here we are, 2026, getting a concussion, and they love it. It's so amazing for them. It's such a bloodlust for our oppressor. And it's something that the Bible tells us about. You understand? So we got the history of the bread and circus. Let me go into the Bible and show you how it all originated, all right? Do this right quick. I'm going to go into the Bible. We're going to go into the book of First Maccabees and show you what the book of First Maccabees says about our oppressors bringing their athletics into our kingdom. You understand? Let's get this right here. And it's important to understand that no nation on the earth was as there's no nation on the earth that has been as much a worshiper of the human physique than our oppressors. You understand? No one has ever been so just wanting to see the human body in action and in motion like our oppressor. Everybody understands? Come on. Hold on. Bear with me. Oh man, hold on. Bear with me. Hold on. Okay, hold on. All right, bear with me. Hold on. Sports. Let's see. Sport. Is there sport? Hold on. Nope. I'm looking. Okay, hold on. I know the word gym was in there. Bear with me. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Second Maccabees chapter 4. Let's get Second Maccabees chapter 4. Now we in the Apocrypha, all right? Second Maccabees chapter 4. We're gonna start around verse 12. Second Maccabees, of course, is in the Apocrypha. So out of 14 books, 16 books that was removed out of the King James Bible during the Protestant Reformation because the Protestant church did not want the descendants of slaves in America reading about how the Israelites were conquered and colonized by the Greeks, because they knew that if we would have read what happened to the children of Israel during the Greek captivity, that we would have related it to what the Europeans did to us here in America by stripping our identity, making it illegal for us to call, speak our language and address ourselves by the names that our ancestors gave us. So the same way that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were colonized here in America, the children of Israel were colonized by the Greeks, and the history of that colonization is spelled out in the Apocrypha, which is why the Protestant Reformation removed these books, all right? But we know this history. We understand the importance of this history, and so we go into it from time to time. All right, so let's get Second Maccabees chapter 2. Let's see, we'll get verse 12. All right. Now, this is about the introduction of athletic entertainment to the Israelites during the Greek captivity. When we were under the Greeks was trying to get us to come into their culture and accept the ways of the Greeks and the Romans. One of the things that they brought and introduced to us was the idea of athletic competition. If you read in the Bible talks about athletic prowess and physical gifts by describing men's ability to fight, by describing men's ability to, conquer, to kill, unalive their enemies. The Bible, when it talks about King David, it says when David was a boy, David was an expert at play. And it talks about how David, used that sling and practiced with it, and he was excellent at it. That's what we did before sports entertainment. Before sports entertainment, the children of God were focused on how to be the best and skilled at fighting, how to be able to unalive the enemy and not be unalived, how to be able to go and conquer and defend and be the best at it. And to this day, if you look at all of the sports, look at all of the great Hall of Fame basketball players and football players, and imagine if instead of chasing a ball, they were defending their nation. I always imagine, you watch LeBron James running up and down the basketball court. This man is 6'9", 260 pounds, runs a 4.3 40-yard dash, got a 48-inch vertical. Imagine if instead of throwing a basketball, he was chucking a spear. Imagine if instead of packing somebody down in the post, he had a shield and a sword in his hand and was attacking the enemy. Who's going to beat if you send your best fighter out into the field and LeBron James is our best, we send LeBron James out. What nation on the earth, who they going to send out to fight LeBron James? Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is who we send. Think of the movie Troy. That movie Troy where Achilles, they bought the enemy they was fighting, they brought their best fighter out. And they said, we're going to fight. You bring your best fighter out. And they bought the big giant came out, and then Achilles came out. This is a fight for the war. Whoever wins the war. That giant came out there. He came, he was ready to, his people was behind him. He threw that spear. Achilles put that helmet on. He ran out there, dodged the spear, dodged the jump. The cat go to swing the sword. Achilles jump up, bloop, poke him in the neck. It's over with. I watched that and I imagine if that was LeBron James, and we sent him on the battlefield to fight the enemy, they don't have a man to match us. They don't have a man to match us. I watched that scene from Troy, and I know the history of the earth, and I know that if Achilles was a real person, Achilles would have been black. Achilles would have been a black man. You understand? I look at Troy and I think of David and Goliath. Our oppressor is such a devil. He's hijacked history, taken the Bible, who the Bible describes the children of Israel as being black. David was black. He was ready, meaning what? He was a handsome black man. And David was skilled at play, meaning he was super athletic. David killed the lion with a slingshot, killed the bear. Said he grabbed the lion by the chin. David wasn't no soft punk. He wasn't weak. And Goliath was a Philistine. Guess what part of the earth do Philistines come from? Africa. Which means what? Goliath was a giant African, a giant black man. A giant melanated man. David was a little melanated man. David and Goliath is like Muggsy Bogues versus Hakeem Olajuwon. To be more accurate, it's like Manute Bol and Muggsy Bogues. You send Muggsy now, I don't know if y'all know basketball, but look up Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues was a black man, about 5'4", 5'5" from Baltimore that played in the NBA. And Muggsy Bogues, even though he was small in stature, he was super strong and he was skilled on that basketball court. You understand? Muggsy Bogues got out there and got busy with that basketball. Hold up. Somebody asking to jump in. Okay. Most High Christ, is you good? Just put yourself on mute. Muggsy Bogues was out there playing basketball. Hakeem Olajuwon, let's say Manute Bol. Manute Bol is an African from the same part of Africa where the Philistines are from. You understand? Manute Bol is like 7'2", 7'6". Mute your phone, Baba Kashaw. You understand? Manute Bol was giant. Muggsy Bogues out there crossing them up, laying up, shooting threes. You understand? I read about David and Goliath in the Bible, and I think about Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bol. You understand? They send Manute Bol out there. Who want to challenge the Philistines? And David like, man, who is that cat supposed to be? Y'all scared of this cat? Man, what's wrong with y'all? David they're like, man, come on, little man, you tripping. That's a trained warrior, Philistine warrior. David like, man, whatever, I deal with him. David go out there with that slingshot that he been practicing with, that he been honing his craft and being an expert at war. David go out there with that slingshot, hit Manute Bol right between the eyes. Then go take his sword and chop his head off and hold it up and say, who wants some of Debo? Everybody seen David do that and then left David alone. You understand? Somebody said David, the original YN. You absolutely right. But don't even think of David as a YN. Think of David as one of these cats that's in college playing basketball. You understand? It's sad that our fighting warriors of blessed with the gifts of God have been reduced to running up and down the field, banging their brains against one another over football. Men 7'4", 280 pounds. Shaq was 7'1", 7'2", 350 out there banging on the basketball court, dunking and dribbling the basketball. Imagine he had a shield and a spear in his hands. Imagine instead of on the basketball court training, they in the gym. They in the field. They in the community getting the young brothers to be trained, to get strong, to be able to defend and protect. Our oppressors introduced sports and robbed us of our warriors. Introduced sports and robbed us of our ability to be able to defend ourselves. And the history of it is recorded right here in the book of 2 Maccabees. Let's get into it. You understand? This devil is in the chat saying steroids again. Devil, what steroids you talking about? So hold on, devil. Hold on, Russell Green. Are you trying to say that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are not the most physically dominant people on the earth? That we're not the most athletically gifted? Who do you think steroids were created for, Russell Green? Don't you know they were created for y'all to feel better about yourselves because you can't compete with us? We number one in track and field, number one in basketball and football. We number one in everything. You mad? Yes, how do you lose then? How do we lose at what, Russell Green? What are we losing at? If you're talking about how do we lose and not being on top, I just explained it to you in the Bible. We did not keep the laws of God, and because we have disobeyed God, you are the cancer and the plague that has been let loose on the planet. You are the cancer and the plague that God has allowed to punish everybody because we wouldn't do what God told us to do. But guess what, Russell Green? Once we come back to obeying the Most High, we have that knowledge and that wisdom along with all of the physical prowess that the Most High gave us. You're going into cages. You're going into captivity. You understand? Then we're going to put you in the arenas to make you tear your ACLs and rip your Achilles and get concussions, because that's going to be the punishment that you have given to us. You understand? So let's go ahead and get into this history. This is 2 Maccabees chapter 4. We're going to start at verse 12. All right. It says, hold on. Let's get verse 11. All right. Get verse 11. 2 Maccabees 4 and 11, it says, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, he took away. And putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law. So this man went to the Romans for aid, for amity, for help. And in order for us to get the help from the Romans, we had to do away with our laws and we had to adopt the laws and the customs of the Romans. Now, these are what the laws and the customs of the Romans were. The water for that says, I appreciate you. This is 2 Maccabees 4 and verse 12. It says, for he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself and brought the chief young men under his subjection and made them wear a hat. What is that hat? That hat is what the so-called Jewish man wears today. That little yarmulke, that's that small hat. It's Greek fashion that is made to belittle you. It's made to symbolize that you are a part of this culture. That's why when they win the championship, they put that hat on. That NBA championship hat, that NFL playoff, that Super Bowl winning hat. That's the culture, the hat of the Greeks. I'm going to keep reading. Verse 13 says, now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and not high priest. Verse 14, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the name of Discus called them forth. Keep reading. It says, verse 15, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God, but the time following shall declare these things. Now, when the game that was used every 5th year was kept at Tyrus, the king being present, this ungracious Jason sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drachms of silver to the sacrifice of Hercules, which even the bearers thereof thought fit not to bestow upon him the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges. This money then, in regard to the sender, was appointed to Hercules' sacrifice, but because of the bearers thereof, it was employed to the making of galleys. Everybody understands. Now, I'm going to go back through and break that down, but in essence, this cat, Jason, was a sellout. He was a traitor. And he was full-fledged into us joining ourselves to the Romans and joining ourselves to the Greeks. You understand? The games that was used every 5th year was kept at Tyrus. That's talking about the Olympics. You understand? The Greeks were having the Olympics in ancient Greece. And here's what you don't know about ancient Greece and this whole gymnastics and this sports that they had. Somebody give me the dictionary definition of the word gymnasium. Let's go into Merriam-Webster's dictionary and get the definition of the word gymnasium. And let's get some history on the gymnasium. And we have gymnasiums today. That's where you go to the gym, work out. You go to Planet Fitness. You go to eSporter. You go to the Croc Center here in Memphis. You go to these places to work out and to get sweaty. And what is an aspect of the gym that doesn't really get talked about much, but everybody has experienced it? Let's see.
According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a gymnasium is defined as a large room or building equipped for indoor sports and physical exercise, often including facilities like locker rooms, spectator seating, or a pool.
Okay, boom. So a gymnasium is a big place to do athletics that has a spectator section, has a you said a pool, a spectator area, and a locker room, right?
It also says that it derived from the Latin word gymnasium and from the Greek word gymnasion, gymnos, which means naked or unclothed.
That's the most important part that we must understand about a gymnasium, is that these Greeks and Romans like to do everything bucket naked. You understand? They wanted to get blacks and Hispanics to come in the arenas because they wanted to marvel at the girth of your loins. They wanted to marvel at the stature of that chest and those pecs and those deltoids. They wanted to admire and marvel at how physically gifted you were. Now, we look at basketball and football today, right? What our oppressor wishes they could do is have all of it be done naked. Because at one time, that's what the Olympics was. The Olympics was a showcase of the greatness of humanity. And what makes humanity great to white people is seeing them naked. You look at the FIFA right now, the World Cup. Imagine the World Cup bucket naked. You just watch the basketball championship. Imagine Wemby out there bucket naked. You watch wrestling, the Olympics come around, you watch wrestling and you watch water polo. They was doing all of that butt naked because that's who our oppressor is. That is the wicked customs that the Bible is talking about. We didn't want to be a part of this nakedness that white people was doing during the Greek times. Our young men is training to be warriors, training to fight, not training to look sexy, not training to look good naked for who? Who looking at your naked body? Think about it. Just right now, if we didn't live in such an evil place, why would being naked even be important to anybody? Only body going to see you is your woman. Only body going to see you is your man. The white man has given us a culture of nakedness. He wants our women with as little clothes as possible on. Why? He wants the little halter tops and the damn crop top, the skirt, what they call them, give me the Caucasian terms for the booty shorts. What they call them, some shorts them girls be wearing? Daisy Dukes. They want the Daisy Dukes because they want to see all in the crack. You understand? I remember years ago, the sister, what's the sister's name? I forget this black woman name. She said that they was gonna have black men in skirts. They was gonna have black men in dresses. Why? Why the white man want you in a skirt, want you in a dress? Because he want to see that third leg poking out from under there. These are some nasty, diabolical people. How do you create an entire arena based off of being naked? That's the part of the gymnasium nobody talks about. I'm a black man. I'm grown. I've been on this earth for some years. I've never gone to a gym and not seen some old white man bucket naked in there for no reason. All hours of the day and night. You go in the gym, I'm going in there to use the bathroom, put my, I might go, I really ain't never been to changing at the gym type, because I like to, when I shower and stuff, I want it to be, that's a private thing. I want to get comfortable. I ain't never been to wake up in the morning, go to the gym, and then go to work guy. I see those guys, I don't know their life. I don't know what life you living, that you able to get up in the morning, go to the gym and get sweaty, and then go to work, my nigga. That's crazy. But I go to the gym in the morning. Go ahead, sis, go ahead.
I'm looking at Brother Russell down in the comments. And Russell, so a lot of times you guys seem to be very, very upset about your history. Like, it's not that we are bashing your history. It is what it is. Like, this is what your ancestors did. This is what y'all like. We're not trying to make you feel bad, but sometimes the truth is ugly. It's a history of y'all being naked. It's a history of y'all doing weird things, especially with animals. Like, how do we find out that strawberry flavoring comes from a beaver's booty hole? I can guarantee you it wasn't a black person that figured that it tastes like a booty hole.
Absolutely. Yes, that get us the hand. And listen, for Russell in the comments, Russell just wants some attention. Russell knows his history. Russell knows his people are nasty. Russell knows that the gymnasium, the gymnos means naked. Russell know they used to do all these athletic events naked. Russell know he watched basketball right now. That's why in the 70s, they made him play basketball in them little booty shorts. They wanted to see Magic Johnson's thighs. Salaki, go ahead.
So, Russell, yes, we did have mummies. But do you realize why we don't have mummies today? Because your ancestors thought that eating dead bodies would make them have magical powers. So, yes, what were we doing with the mummies? That was our burial. We buried them, but your ancestors dug them up and ate them.
Also, this too, sis. That mummies, them burials, that was a Egyptian culture. You understand? That wasn't Israelite culture. And I'm gonna tell you, just for the rest of the class, just ignore Russell. Don't acknowledge Russell no more, because this is what Russell's trying to do. Russell wants to get off of the point. He wants to deviate from us discussing the evil of our oppressors and the history of white people loving everybody to be naked. Russell's going to say anything and everything in the chat to distract from the point. Russell said we was taking steroids. Russell just wants to be acknowledged. Here's how you deal with Russell. Ignore him. Just don't even acknowledge he exists. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he wants. He wants to stop the class talking about the bread and circus and how the white man uses these distractions to stop people from acknowledging the evil that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So again, the definition of the word gymnasium, it describes the place where you go and work out, the place where you go and swim and play basketball. But at the root of it, in the original language that created the word gymnasium, gymnos means naked. And that's what they wanted you to come do. Come and be naked. And today, again, in 2026, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but everybody has experienced that uncomfortability of going to the gym, going in the locker room to use the bathroom or change, and there's some butt naked white person in there. Again, you can go in the early in the morning, some white man in there butt naked. I go sometimes in the afternoon after the kids take their nap, some white man in there butt naked. I go in the gym a half an hour before the gym closes, get my workout in. Guess what I see in the bathroom? Some white man butt naked. And guess what? When I learned this in the truth, I stopped being mad. I used to be mad, like, man, why they always naked? Some random white man just naked all the time in here. Then I learned that was what their culture was. They just like being naked. You understand? They used to have, what they call them, bathhouses in New York City in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, where white men would just go and be naked with each other. Just you go watch that John Wick movie. There's a scene in the John Wick movie after they unalive his dog and he go hunting for the cats. He go to some underground club in New York and they just in there naked in the pool, naked in the sauna, naked in you like, why they naked? That's just white people's culture. Guess what? In Russia, they got bathhouses. In Europe, They still got those bathhouses. You go in there, it's nasty Caucasian men doing gymnos. You understand? And that's what it was all about. So we were introduced to this culture against our will. This is not something that we willingly did, but the Greeks had found sellouts and traitors to get us to join our oppressors. And it goes into what the Bible warns us about when it comes to joining our oppressors. If anybody wants to get some good understanding of how evil the entertainment industry is towards blacks and Hispanics, there's a book called $40 Million Slave. You go and get a book called $40 Million Slave. It goes into great detail in explaining how sports has been used to do exactly what I described, which is to siphon off all of our young, strong men of war and to train them into a culture and introduce them to a way of life that would completely separate them and ostracize them from us. You understand? We look at athletes and entertainers today like they should be leaders, like they should be the ones to speak out about black problems, but they never do. They never really stand up. They never really put their lives or careers on the line. There's been a few examples. Colin Kaepernick in recent history. You understand? We should acknowledge that brother and thank him for his sacrifice. You had Bill Russell and Jim Brown and these cats in the 60s. But between the 60s and Colin Kaepernick, black people didn't really have no athletes to stand up and speak for them. The book, $40 Million Slave, explains why. You understand? It just took all of our men of war, all of our men of fighting age and their physical athletic prowess, put them on a basketball and football court so they would not stand up and defend us. You understand? The Bible never intended for the chosen people of God to be entertaining these other nations and destroying our bodies in the process. All right. We could drop that. Let's get Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. All right. After Proverbs 14 and 12, we're going to get Proverbs 3 and 31. All right. Proverbs 14 and 12, and then Proverbs 3 and 31. Again, the title of the class is Bread and Circus. You understand? Bread and Circus is our oppressor using sports entertainment to distract us from the real problems of our society, to distract us from the real issues going on in our world and our daily life, so that we don't revolt, so that we don't fight back, so that we don't say to ourselves, enough is enough. As long as you working in slavery, barely getting by, making minimum wage, you and your woman, you're struggling, the bills barely paid. Guess what, though? The Knicks in 5. I can go get this drink. I can go pop this bottle. You understand? Oh, man. America's a melting pot. All these different races and all these different ethnicities mixing. How does our oppressor keep everybody from going to war with one another? Well, we could put our racial pride aside and we could all cheer for the Jets. We could all cheer for the Chicago Bears. We in Minnesota, where they literally, ICE is capturing people, throwing them in the back of cars, and they disappearing. Family don't know where they went. Don't nobody know what happened. But you know what? The Vikings play this Sunday at 4:00, and they're playing against the Green Bay Packers. We got to go cheer for the Vikings. Damn that. Damn cheering for the Knicks and the Vikings and Brazil, while our oppressor is unaliving everybody and ruling the goddamn earth, siphoning all the money out of the government. You poor can't afford to live, but the Knicks in 5, that's the bread and circus. You understand? This is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. It says, there is a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. You understand? It seems right to send your son to college to go play football. It seems right to go and train at basketball every day and, train and learn to cover 2 defense and to cover 3. You understand? To cover 6 and cover 4 quarters and all the different nuances of the defense and training this and that. The Bible says there's a way that seems right to a man, but the ends thereof are the ways of death. You understand? There's kids that lose their life on that goddamn football field. Cats tear their Achilles, tear their ACL in basketball, and their life is over with. What I'm saying, let's be clear. I'm not saying that sports itself is evil, but putting your life into sports is evil. Your hopes and dreams and aspirations. If I don't make this basket, there's cats I know, They didn't make it to basketball, to college to play basketball. They ended up selling drugs, selling illegal stuff. They wasn't able to make it and make it big in the league. They decided that they just, forget school, forget going to college. I know cats that went to college, full ride scholarship, never got a degree, never took no classes. You understand? Then you don't make it to the big leagues. Then you back at home working, you bagging groceries. You back at home, doing some menial job. Why? Because you put all your faith and all your trust in this system, all your faith and all your hopes into being a good slave for the oppressor. Damn that. I know grown men who live right now, they didn't never make it to the league. They living vicariously through their son. I know cats right now never played a liquor, never made it past high school football. Got their 13-year-old son out there running drills every day. That boy ain't got no life. That boy don't get to play no video games. He don't get to, hang out with his friends. He playing that football. I look at cats like, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant around the same age I was. And Kevin Durant grew up not far from where I grew up. And I remember them cats in them AAU tournaments on the weekend. Hey, man, y'all coming to the party tonight? No, man, I got a game in the morning. I didn't live that life. I don't know that life to pour my whole heart and soul into trying to be an athlete. And Kevin Durant made it. But there's 100,000 cats that I know that didn't. Everybody understands. There's nothing wrong with you wanting your kids to be great, and your kid got a skill and the gift, you put them in there and teach them the discipline and all those things they get from athletics, but don't let that be your whole life. Don't let that be your only achievement. There's cats I know now still. My 20-year high school reunion was a couple years ago, and there's cats I know right now, 20 years after we graduated high school, he still think he the man because he was a starting linebacker. Nigga, come on, nobody cared. That was 20 years ago. You ain't did nothing else in life but be the linebacker in high school. Come on, You got to do some women. There's women with 2-3 kids and can't find a man. But when they was in high school, though, the quarterback of the football team was their boyfriend. It's a lot here. You got to grow up. You got to have broader ambitions. You got to have a greater desire for something in life than to be an entertainer for the white man. And if it ain't playing basketball or playing football, what is it? Singing and dancing. You want to sing the national anthem at the White House fight on the lawn. You want to sing the national anthem for the president when he get elected. I watched Terrence Crawford, ~1 pound for pound boxer in the last 20 years. He went on an interview with a cat and said he wouldn't come back to boxing for, $100 million because his integrity, because of his character. And I saw Terrence Crawford with Donald Trump taking a picture like this with the one hand finger up. Well, goddamn, Terrence Crawford, I thought you had integrity. I thought your character was important to you. You shucking and jiving, shaking hands with this evil bastard that hates black people? Shame on you. You understand? Proverbs 14:12, there's a way which seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Now let's get Proverbs 3:31. And what's horrible is that these scriptures we read in the day, this whole breakdown, why haven't we been taught this by our church? Where are those pastors that have been teaching black people for the last 100 years to join the white man and join our oppressor and go and play basketball and football? Where were them to show us this history? Where was them to tell us that there's a way that seems right to a man, but the ends thereof are the ways of death? Why didn't they warn us about the evil of going in the streets and getting involved in illegal activities? Why didn't they warn us about joining our oppressor and being who they called us to be to our own destruction, man? The whole generation of black people grew up believing the only way you're going to make it out the hood is if you play basketball, if you deal in illegal activities, or if you, what's the other one? Or you go to jail. What is it? How'd you make it out the hood? I'm trying to speak this TikTok language. It's rap. Either you're going to rap and sing, you're going to be an entertainer, you're going to play sports, basketball, football, or, you're going to get hit the block and sell a pack. Shame on the Christian church for not telling us the truth. Shame on these pastors for allowing us to believe that the only way that we was going to get out of oppression is by joining our oppressor. When the Bible says the way that we get out of oppression is turning to the Most High. The Bible says the way that we fight against our oppressor is obeying his laws, not going head first into it. Now here we are in 2026. Look at all the rappers, all the narcotic traffickers, and look at all the singers and entertainers that made it out. All of them in jail. Puff Daddy made it out. He in jail. R. Kelly singing, made it out. He in jail. Michael Jackson made it out. All this ABC. Michael Jackson made it out and died a drug addict. Literally died of a drug overdose. Whitney Houston sang those songs in that church, died of a drug overdose. You understand? Don't get me started on the athletes. O.J. Simpson ran that football. O.J. Simpson unalived them people and lost his life. You understand? Give me some more. Give me. God, don't get me started on the athletes and entertainers that have married our oppressors, and then lost all their riches and wealth. Tiger Woods' daddy fought for him to be the greatest golf player ever. Tiger Woods played that golf, became the greatest. Unable to verify. Come on, B. What do you mean? Okay, there we go. Come on, dog. All right, there you go. Tiger Woods played that golf amazingly, swung that club, made all that money, married a Caucasian woman. Oh, come on, B. B, come on, B. Visibility restricted for 10 minutes. Oh, well. Tiger Woods swung that golf club, became an amazing number one golfer. Got with a Caucasian woman and lost his career. Lost all that money. Brother said Serena Williams, oh, they daddy, man. Come on, man. They daddy was a hardcore soldier. Raised them young girls up in Compton. Taught them how to swing that tennis racket. Taught them how to hit that ball and do that thing. They got rich and wealthy because of the hard work and training their father gave them, just for them to grow up and all marry Caucasian men. Give all that wealth away. All of that is the evil that comes with this athletics and this entertainment that causes us to take everything that the Lord has blessed us to receive and give it all right back to our oppressors. That's covered in that book, $40 Million Slave as well. The history of how they just train, there's a whole industry designed to siphon off all the youth and the physical prowess of our athletes and then to rob us blind on the back end by having us marry into their race of people. Marry into their, bloodlines. It's evil and horrible. Now let's get Proverbs 3:31. It says, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. You understand? We should have never envied our oppressor and chose his ways. At one point in time, we had a black baseball league, the Negro leagues. And those Negro leagues was making good Negro money. We had the best baseball players on the planet. Then here come the white man. Here come the oppressor trying to get us to sell out. Let's integrate. Let's take the Negro League and cross it over to the MLB. Jackie Robinson was the first trader. Jackie Robinson went and played for the Dodgers. Next thing you know, the Negro Leagues fell apart. Now who's getting all that money? Our oppressor's getting all that money. They had a black basketball league. It started out, it was called the ABA. The ABA is where they let the black men come play. They was crossing up. They was finger roll layups. They was alley-oop, dunking the basketball. Wasn't nobody watching the NBA. Wasn't nobody watching them bastards in Boston and Utah. Nobody care about them. And they said, you know what? We got to get some of them high-flying whoop-de-doo dunkers over here. They merged the ABA with the NBA. Guess what? All the black teams was gone now. Now we in 2026. Black people don't own no major sports teams in the earth. How are we 90% of the workforce and 0% of the ownership? That came from joining our oppressor and choosing his ways. You understand? Right now, they just started playing college. They just started paying college football and basketball players. It's over with. It's over with. Young men, trying to build up an army of young black soldiers, young Latino soldiers, young Caribbean soldiers is damn near impossible because all of them is getting gobbled up by the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, the MLS, the NHL, all these three-letter organizations is getting all of our children, robbing us of the strength of our youth, all because we joined our oppressor. The time that we need men to stand up for our community, they are not present to stand up. Why? Because they are joined to our oppressor. You understand? Captain Yagalwab said, hearing Jackie Robinson talk is truly nerve-wracking. Jackie Robinson was all the way in the trenches. If there was a way to get your face inside of an oppressor's behind, Jackie Robinson, he did it. He learned how to do it. He put it all the way up there and sniffed all of the grovel that there was to be sniffed. And it is an absolute shame. And we should look at the legacy of these people and recognize that they were traitors. Whether they were willing traitors or unwilling traitors, we have to acknowledge that the last 60 years of integration, the last 60 years of, joining our oppressor has been absolutely horrendous for us. And it is why the bread and circus is so successful today. If Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians withdrew from athletics right now, all of these industries would fold in on themselves. All of them would be destroyed. You understand? Now, I've only touched on the entertainment aspect. I've only touched on the aspect of us being the people at the bottom that's number one in these organizations making all the money. But what about the way that the sports robs the people? What's a major thing that everybody is into now in the last 2-3 years that they weren't into before? I remember being young, growing up, gambling was a thing that grown-ups with disposable income did. I mean, if you wanted to gamble, you had to go to Las Vegas. You had to go to Atlantic City. There were certain designated places in a country where you could go and gamble. Certain designated places you had to go out of your way to blow your money. Nowadays, they got sports gambling. They got sports books. You ain't got to go to Las Vegas to lose your house no more. You ain't got to go to Atlantic City to blow your check. You ain't even got to go to the corner market to play the numbers no more. You used to have to go to the corner market and get 5 on box 4, 3, 2, 1. I had a best friend when I was in the world. This cat, he was a drug addict, but he used to get off though. His vice. He used to get on that thing. He had a notebook he'd pull out, and the notebook had the numbers of the lottery for the last 2 months. He had written down the date and the numbers that came out, and he thought that he could track the numbers and get the pattern and guess the next day's numbers. And he would track the numbers out in the lottery the same way somebody tracked the scores of a basketball player today. It's jogging my memory, but the way people sports bet today, that's how brothers used to play the numbers. And they thought that there was a there was a rhythm to the numbers. Meaning if you could track it for the last 2 months, you could guess the numbers tomorrow. And that's what people doing today with sports. They looking at the score yesterday. How many rebounds did he have? Who was the team he played against? What was the over and the under? How many points was they favored? What's the betting odds? It's minus 250, plus 300. And they going and blowing all your money on FanDuel and goddamn DraftKings. You understand? And there are people out there who betting on those apps and don't think they are addicted. They are betting on those apps and think it's money well spent. Imagine you take, I know cats that's these basketball roll around. Basketball games is every 2 days. And they betting $5 every 2 days. And in a month, they down 200. And they're not realizing they down 200 because they up 80 today. And I lost, man. I bet five on a parlay. It ain't hit. You ain't hit a parlay in 5 weeks. You betting $5 every other day. You're down 200, but then your parlay hit and you make $650. You don't cash that $650 out and go pay your rent and pay your bills. You take that $650 and try to flip it. I hit $650. You already was down 200. You hit $650, so you really only made $450. Then you take the $4.50 and you start betting $10 now. Now it's $10 on the parlay. And before you know it, you done spent 4 weeks betting $10 and didn't hit nothing. Then you finally hit. Now you up $1,200, but you don't realize you just spent $1,500 in the last month or two. You chasing the high, trying to get back, trying to hit another parlay. That is the degradation of society via the bread and circus. That's the illusion of being able to get ahead via the bread and circus. They don't need you to, they don't need to get you to go vote no more. They don't need to push you to go vote and participate in the political process. They don't need you to go, try to go to college and get a degree so you can elevate yourself. They'll teach you to play blackjack right on your phone. They'll let you sport gamble right on your phone and try to get ahead. And there's people out there that are losing their entire lives chasing after something that does not exist, chasing after a possibility that isn't real, that they're going to hit the lottery or they're going to hit that parlay or they're going to, hit this big bet and now their life going to change. The bread and circus is something that's designed to keep fools asleep. Everybody understands. Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. One of my favorite scriptures, you understand? And when you understand the evil of what's going on in society, it is a scripture that is absolutely necessary for you to keep in your heart and in your mind. Everybody understand? Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. It says, surely oppression makes a wise man mad. You understand? Surely oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift destroys the heart. You understand? If you see the evil and the oppression that's going on amongst God's people, amongst blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you have every right to be mad. It is wisdom from God that has you see the evil that's happening to our people, and you angry about it. You at a fever pitch wanting something to be done. But then here comes our oppressor with a gift to take that anger away. Here comes our oppressor with a gift to, subdue your anger and make you forget about it. That's what the bread and circus is. The bread and circus is a gift to poor people. It's a gift to those who are downtrodden and oppressed. I know your life is in shambles. I know rent is too much. I know you got to work 3 or 4 jobs, but the Knicks won the championship, B. First time in 53 years, the Knicks won the championship. Aren't you happy? Aren't you excited? Go out in the streets and dance and celebrate. The Knicks won. What the Knicks winning got to do with my life being in shambles? What the Knicks winning got to do with me not being able to pay this rent? The Knicks winning should make you happy and forget about that, at least for tonight. Then tomorrow we'll give you something else to be happy about, to forget about your problems, at least for tonight. We are living in a society that is built to string us along day to day, forgetting about the evil of our life, forgetting about the horrible conditions that we're in. And that is not what God designed for us. That's not what the Most High wants for your life to just be a never-ending, a last-ending wet dream. Excuse my language. You being enticed to feel excited and jubilant about somebody else's winning when you never get to win for yourself. That's not what the Most High wanted for us. But that's what our oppressor has designed to keep us asleep, to keep us destroyed. And it's absolutely evil, man. And it's beneath us as a people. Man, look, I've been a Knicks fan my whole life. I was a young kid growing up in Washington, D.C. You understand? My uncles was Georgetown Hoya fans, Georgetown College basketball fans. And Patrick Ewing used to play for the Georgetown basketball team. So every time New York Knicks games came on, my uncles and them was cheering for Ewing. And I became a New York Knicks fan as a young kid. I've been a New York Knicks fan my whole life. Never saw my team win. I was raised by them same uncles to not be a traitor. You can't be no bandwagoner. Whoever your team is, that's your team. So when I was a kid, the Knicks and the Cowboys was my team. And I'd been a Knicks and the Cowboys fan my whole life. And I watched the Knicks win the other day, and I like sports. I'm entertained by it. I don't bet. I don't waste my money on it. I just like to see I watch basketball and football like a chess player watches a chessboard. I see the strategy. I see the lineups. I see the players that's matching against each other. I see the plays they running. I understand the strategy. So to me, it's like watching warfare. It's like watching battle. You see the what they call it, the battle of the wits. That's what I watch basketball and football for. And as I'm watching them win, it's like, damn, man, they finally won. And I watch the celebration and I watch them all happy. And I say to myself, damn, all that over a goddamn basketball game. Like, these cats have fought their entire life for this trophy. And this trophy doesn't change anything in the broader scheme of things. Black people still oppressed. There's still some devil that signs they check. They win the championship. Imagine this. You dedicate your whole life to a sport. Playing basketball in the gym every day. You're training, recovering, sweating, and blood, sweat, and tears, and all of that. You win the championship. And before you or your teammates get to touch the championship, they hand it to some devil who's the owner of the team. I guess even in your victory, you're still second class. Even in your triumphing, you're still, you're still the second tier. And that, I know they do that stuff subconsciously to remind everybody, yeah, y'all saw them play and run the ball, but they just the horses. You understand? They just the horses. They just the jocks. The real winner is the owner. He get to get that damn trophy and he hold it up. I watched the news about the New York basketball games. They was making people pay $1 million for tickets. Imagine you pay $1 million for a basketball game ticket. Guess what? The owners and the athletes do not split that revenue on that stadium. That owner might have spent $250 million paying all these players. He made all that back in one night of a playoff game. His money isn't, he ain't losing nothing by paying these athletes. They the ones generating all the money. They don't get none of it. Whatever your contract say, you locked in, B. You signed for $4 million over, you signed for $5 million over 2 years. The owner go make $500 million. You still got that same little punk ass $5 million. So, Lockie, I watched the New York Knicks win the championship, and I realized that who cares? What does it matter? We still oppressed, man. We still being unalived in the streets. You understand? They unaliving us and finding themselves not guilty. They unaliving us. They beating us up, jumping us. We defending ourselves, and they sending us to prison for 35 years. I can't afford to be happy about the New York Knicks winning the championship. I can't afford to be excited about Great Britain and Morocco in the damn soccer championships. All of it is designed to keep us distracted and to keep us from dealing with the realities of the hell that our lives are living in this place. You understand? One more time, Ecclesiastes 7:7, it says, surely oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift destroys the heart. You understand? The bread in Circus is the gift. All right? And now speaking about the athletes, speaking about, playing to win this championship and being excited and glorifying in it and reveling in it, this is how we felt once upon a time about participating in our oppressors' athletics. This is how we felt once upon a time about singing songs and dancing for our oppressors. They love to talk about our people as though, they're just a musical people. They love singing and dancing, and they were in slavery with Negro spirituals and singing these songs. Those songs weren't happy songs. The music of black people isn't happy music. Rap music started out about the oppression and the evils that we're suffering. Go listen to some of that late 1980s rap music. You understand? Go listen to that music. It was, what's my man? Curtis Blow with the it's like a jungle sometimes. It made me wonder how I keep from going under. That song was about the evil and horrors of New York City. Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the elevator. Just don't care. Yeah, it was a sad ass rap song. That hippity hop ain't start off with dancing and shaking your booty. That music was we living in hell. This is a horrible place. You understand? Go listen to some of them late 80s, early 90s rap. Big Daddy Kane and Cool Mo D and them cats. They was rapping about how horrible life was. You understand? Some of that damn even that R&B music. Go listen to some old Otis Redding. Some of that, something around 110th Street. Not me. I forget the words, but he was saying about prostitution. God damn it, it was a horrible song. You understand? 125th Street is a horrible song. You understand? What's the other one? Give me one. What's the thing?
Mama, I'm your daddy. I'm that nigga in the air.
There you go. I'm your pusher man.
I'm your pusher man.
You understand? What's the one about the little girl going home and getting caught by the pimp? It was her way, grandmama's house. That's about a young girl getting tricked by a sexual deviant and getting pimped out. She ran into Jeffrey Epstein. That's what our music is about. That's what them songs are. Them was Negro spirituals. They try to make it seem like these is all love songs and wonderful songs. These people singing about horrible things they going through. You understand? Marvin Gaye sang sexual healing. You want to know why he needed sexual healing? Because his life was horrible dealing with the oppressor. Please, baby, heal me with some of that love you got. They try to make it like, we just been living a happy, wonderful life. We've been suffering in this place. Olivia was the name of the song.
That's right, by the Whispers.
By the Whispers, you understand? All these songs, these ain't happy songs. I remember being a young kid. My mother gonna trip out on this one. My mama used to have a CD called The Best of the Spinners. And my mama, she got one of them 3-disc CD players back in the day. I was a little kid. And my mama she'd leave sometimes at night, and I had a CD player playing. I'd play the Spinners. And my favorite song was Sadie, old Sadie, singing about his grandmama. And I used to love that song till I got old enough to realize he's singing about his grandmama that passed away. And how he missed her because she was one of those things that was from a time when life was good. Now, it's a beautiful song, but it's absolutely a sad song. That's our music. That's the triumph of these athletes. These athletes, when they celebrating with that trophy and they excited, it's a grieving of all the hard work. It's a grieving of everything it took to get here, and finally we got here and we did it, and it's just a release. It's now I can just I did it. We did it. Now it all meant something. Now it all had a purpose. Well, imagine going your whole life and never winning a championship. Imagine going your whole life and never getting that validation that all of this fight and all this struggle was for a purpose. That's the majority of people's lives. The majority of us live a life that is left unfulfilled. And it shouldn't be that way. If we knew the Most High, if we knew our purpose on this earth, we could live and fulfill that purpose, and it wouldn't be measured by how much money we have. It wouldn't be measured by how big our house is or how nice our car is. We could measure success by our spirit. We could measure success by how we live our lives, having integrity, having honor, having dignity, being able to be proud of who you are and where you come from. They've robbed us of that. They've taken that from black people and gave us a goddamn basketball and a football and a soccer ball to kick. It is such an injustice that's been done to God's people. And why hasn't anybody said something about it? Why do they keep letting us believe that this is what life is about? Shame on your pastor, man. Shame on these sellout coons that want to join our oppressor and never acknowledge the evil that they've done to us, man. God in the Bible told us what the meaning of life was. It ain't a goddamn championship. It ain't a trophy that you don't even get to take home. That trophy goes sit in that white man's cabinet at the damn stadium. You don't get to live with that and keep that forever. You die, you don't take it with you. What good was it? There was a time when we understood the meaning of life. We understood what was important. And we knew that the worst thing you could ever do is take pride in singing and dancing for your oppressor. Give me Psalms 137. Give me Psalms 137. I'm gonna read the whole chapter. It's just 9 verses. Let's get Psalms 137. This is absolutely important. You looking at the bread and circus, just remember what the Most High said. Just remember what the black men and women who suffered and struggled in oppression before, who was asked to entertain what they said. And this is the spirit. If you could ever really get the truth out of an athlete, if you could ever really get the truth out of a singer, a rapper, this is what they would tell you. This is what they would reveal to you about their life. You look at the Jay-Z's and Beyonce's and the Michael Jacksons and Whitney Houston's and the R. Kelly. No, not R. Kelly. Give me some good ones y'all like. The Drake and the Kendrick Lamar and give me some of these singers. Give me the new singing broads. Damn, who the new singers? Chris Brown and Usher and all these cats. Here's what if they could be honest about, okay, forget that. All them people I just named, right? We look at them like, oh man, they living a dream. They singing and dancing and they rapping. We look at them like their life is so amazing, right? But don't you know that a singer and a rapper, their job is to rap and sing? Meaning, me and you, we wake up to a 9 to 5. We go clock in and sit behind a desk or clock in and we got to throw boxes, right? This cat's job is he got to go sing and he got to dance. Hey, back up off that door. So we got kids, you got to do stuff. You got to yell at the door. Back up. You understand? Don't you know that the singer and the rapper got to sing for a living? The singer and the rapper, so they ain't got a 9 to 5. They got a 30-city concert tour. And at this concert tour, they got to go and perform that song. That song that they wrote, that they, was struggling trying to catch the beat and catch a hook and come up with something witty to say. They write that rap out and they put it on the CD and they excited. They liked that song they did. They put the song out and it's on the radio and people singing to it, dancing to it. And then the promoter comes and say, hey, man, we got us a hit, man. Look, we need to go ahead on the tour. And they commit to the tour. Yeah, we're going to 30-city tour. And it sounds like it's fun and amazing. We get to just go and sing every night. Then they get to the concert and realize they got to go sing every night. The cat having the concert is not you there enjoying yourself. You there with your lights and with your cameras and he's singing the song. You singing the words. This his 150th time rapping this song in 2 weeks. The nigga can't not feel like doing it tonight. The nigga can't catch a cold and be sick and not be able to go out there and sing. The dancing cat, he can't get a cold and not be able to dance today. The backup dancer, the backup singer can't be like, yeah, I got strep throat. You better take some steroids and drink that chamomile tea. You better get out there and sing them vocals. Don't you know the rapper, the rapper and the singer cat, they can't talk outside of they rapping and singing. That's why they don't really do interviews and stuff in the middle of a concert tour. Because in the middle of the tour, I can't talk outside of the performance because I might ruin my voice. So for this 30-city tour that lasts 3 months, they can't even talk when they off stage. They can't go see their family. They can't take a break. You think your 9 to 5 hard. Think a 30-city tour, nigga, where you got to go perform for 2 hours every night. That last Kendrick Lamar concert he did, and again, I'm not feeling bad for him. He getting millions of dollars. Do your thing. But that last Kendrick Lamar tour he did, that nigga went to like 70 stops. He did like 70, what's the names? You understand? And he go and have to rap A minor and have to pretend he excited about it. I know after the 5th A minor, the nigga was like, man, come on, bro. Nigga, you better get in there and go A minor, nigga. Every night, A minor, A minor, A minor. Hey, you think your life is hard, nigga? Go sing A minor 70 times in 2 weeks, 2 months. Go miss your family and be away from everybody. You better not get sick, nigga. You better go A minor when you sick. Y'all go watch that Michael Jackson movie and y'all think Michael Jackson and them father was a messed up man. Oh, he was horrible. He beat them kids. He did this. Nigga, you want to be famous? Nigga, do you want to make money and live in Los Angeles? You want monkeys, Michael? Michael, if you want monkeys, you better go sing, goddammit, and don't miss a step. Michael had to go A, B, C, damn it, 1, 2, 3. He smack him. Bop. Michael, say it again. ABC, and the nigga got programmed into him. They father beat them so much to where singing just became second nature. ABC. Simple as 1, 2, 3, spin, goddamn it, nigga, spin around. Do the sugar foot, nigga, do the sugar foot. All right, now do the robot, nigga. Had to shake out, do the robot, and turn around, get back in line perfectly with everybody else. And if he didn't do it right, whack out. Guess what? Michael Jackson, the #1 singer in the history of the earth. You think that was by accident? Nah, it was by Joe Jackson terrorized him. That's how you become great at anything. I just watched Jalen Brunson win the NBA Finals, and the nigga like 6'1". How you 6'1" out basketball in the 7'4" nigga? Because there's tapes right now. You can go look up Jalen Brunson's training. The nigga was 12. His dad had him outside in the freezing cold shooting free throws, running drills. You want to be great, nigga? Go full court, crossover, spin, half turn, shoot the jumper. And the nigga, he was 12, crying. Spin, crossover, half turn, shoot the jumper. All right, good job. Suck that shit up. Go do it again. And the nigga had to do 100, dribble down the court, crossovers, half turns, shoot the jumper, and make it. And if you messed up on the 77th one, do it over again. That's how Jalen Brunson became great and amazing at 6'1". His daddy had to terrorize him into it. That's what we do in America. That's how you become great. Again, we were sold a dream that you had to sell dope, play ball, or sing to make it out the hood. All these, think about the people that you know that are famous for being narcotic traffickers. They had to be the most diabolically evil people on the planet. They had to sell dope to everybody. Pregnant women, old ladies, they mama, they nephews, they cousins, because nigga, this money got to be made. I ain't got time for feelings. The best singers, you think these singing broads are amazing. They put whatever was presented in their mouth to get that singing job. They bent over whatever was there to bend over on a chair, a couch, nigga, a ladder. They bent over wherever they needed to get that shot. You look at these actors and these cats, I know some of these actor cats went to acting school. The ones that didn't have to do the LGBTQ stuff to get famous, they went to Juilliard and, all these acting places. I watched Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames, who y'all know is famous for being the mama's boyfriend on Baby Boy. I watched Ving Rhames. He been swole and strong like that his whole life. I watched him on Pulp Fiction get done horribly by some white man in the movie Pulp Fiction. After that, now y'all help me out, ladies. Y'all know. I don't know. What year did Holiday Heart come out? Don't you know the same nigga that played Jody's mama's boyfriend on Baby Boy was a grown man in a dress on Holiday Heart? That's the same man. That's the same person. You understand? He was a woman in Holiday Heart. He got bent over and assaulted in Pulp Fiction, and he got to be Jody's mama's boyfriend in Baby Boy. Have you ever seen that man outside of his acting roles? His voice was like this. Yeah, so we got the script and we studied it and we were reading the lines. And when the part came where I had to say, guns and butter, young nigga, I had to get in the character. I had to really strengthen and it's like, who is this nigga? This ain't Jody's mama's boyfriend that was humping, holding her butt naked with the Kool-Aid. Yes, that's me. I'm the same guy. What? How do you get to this place in life where this how you talk in real life? And because when he was 5 and 7 years old, somebody was, Ving Rhames, somebody was smacking him saying, you don't know the horrors and the tortures people go through to be where they are. You looking at the end result like, oh man, who the cat that play the Falcon in the Marvel movies? The cat that played the Falcon, what else has he played? And he was Clarence in 8 Mile. The cat that plays Clarence in 8 Mile. This nigga was Clarence in 8 Mile. and he was the Falcon in Marvel. This cat has been in acting classes his whole life. He went to Juilliard and all of that, right? He's been trying to act his entire life. He was forced into that. He was forced into being an actor. Like the same way some of us forced into sports, he was forced into that. And he stuck with it and finally got his big break, and now he's acting. I think he was responding to the Drewski skit about I think he was responding to something about rappers becoming actors. I think that's what it was. The cat that played the Falcon and that played Clarence on 8 Mile, he was talking about doing Anthony Mackie. Thank you, sister. Anthony Mackie was talking about doing a Broadway play. And on this Broadway play, he was supposed to take the place of who my man that played I can't believe I'm forgetting these actors' names, man. I love these cats too. The cat that Don Cheadle. Anthony Mackie was supposed to replace Don Cheadle on a Broadway play, right? Anthony Mackie said he backed out of the play because the counter star of the play, they wanted it to be Mos Def, the rapper. And Anthony Mackie said, man, I went to Juilliard. I've been acting my whole life. There's no way I'm going to act next to a rapper. Like, it's beneath me to act with a rapper. And I watched that interview and I said to myself, Anthony Mackie, what do you think rapping is? If not acting, my nigga. Rapping is it's a sister art form. Rappers aren't rapping about their life. Somebody posted a video the other day. It was a picture of Rick Ross sitting at the terminal at the airport waiting to board the flight. And they was like, yeah, Drake raps is real because Drake said, if catch you on the plane, guess who's in the economy or something. And I responded like, Rick Ross catch a plane like everybody else catch a plane. Like, the waiting area for the plane is the waiting area, my nigga. It ain't like a secret waiting area for rich people. And some dummy came on in and was like, if he rap about flying in jets and G4s and private planes. And I said, so the nigga can't catch a regular flight? Because he rap about G4 jets. The nigga can't catch a first class flight and be waiting at the waiting area? And it really just let me know that people really believe that what's on TV and what they hear on the radio are these actual people's lives. I'm Rick Ross. I rap about being Rick Ross. That's not even my name, my nigga. My name is like John Craig or something. I'm a regular person. Rick Ross is who I pretend to be. Anthony Mackie. Are you Clarence, who's got 2 parents, who went to Cambridge? No, nigga, you was acting. Are you really the Falcon, nigga? No, you're acting. What do you think Mos Def is doing when he's making music and he's on the stage rapping? You think he's that real guy? The hypocrisy of it was mind-blowing, but I said it to say they take it seriously. The same way the basketball player practices every day in the rain, crying, shooting jump shots. The actor is acting on stages and behind scenes places where nobody gets to see the sweat and the tears and the failures and how many times Anthony Mackie probably got told no to a movie role before he landed Clarence in 8 Mile? You know how many times he probably got turned down before he was able to be whoever? You look at cats like Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson been in a lot of movies. But don't you know that he was like 30 in Coming to America when he got to be the robber at the McDonald's? Now, if he was 30 and got that role, how many roles do you think he was turned down from? How many acting jobs do you think Samuel L. Jackson showed up to and they was like, nah, we'll pass on you until he finally was able to be the robber in Coming to America. Then after that, he get to do other movies. Y'all be looking at these people's lives like the end goal is the it. Man, it's a lot of work that goes into that. It's a lot of behind the scenes struggling that goes into these people reaching what they consider to be the pinnacle of their field. And it's a shame that in 2026, that is what has been offered to Black people as success, as opposed to what the Bible says. as opposed to striving for righteousness, striving to be who God called you to be, striving to live a morally upright life, striving to be a good human being, not by the world standards of just I'm nice to people. What does that mean? The Bible gives you the blueprint on what makes you a good person, what makes life fulfilling. And because of the lies of religion, because of the lies of the church and all of these other people, we have not been able to attain the thing that God meant for us to achieve, which is to become who he called us to be. In the book of the Psalms, the 137th chapter, the Bible outlines the sentiments of a people who are in captivity, who are in slavery, that are being told to entertain their oppressors. And this is how it makes them feel. This is Psalms 137, starting at verse 1. It says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yeah, we wept when we remembered Zion. You understand? By the rivers of Babylon, they were in captivity. Babylon was not their homeland. Babylon was not the place that they wanted to grow up and the place that they wanted to live. And they sat down and they wept, remembering their homeland, remembering Zion, remembering a time when we were in power, where we were at peace, where we weren't being ruled over by our oppressors. Verse 2, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. Meaning what? Our musical instruments, we hung them on the trees. And wasn't no reason to be joyful. Wasn't no reason to make no music. Wasn't no reason to sing and dance. Verse 3, for there, they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. That's what they're doing in the entertainment industry today. Sing for me, nigga. Sing me a tune, boy. Rap me one of those good old raps you got. They running the athletes in real life and say, oh, man, you're so big and strong in real life. You're so much taller than I thought you would be. All of those things are ways that these oppressors belittle you. All of it are ways they make you feel small. Oh, you have nice hair, and try to touch your bush. Or, oh, you look so beautiful. Your skin is just glowing. It's so great that all of that is them requiring of you a smile. You better smile and say thank you. You better smile and say, yeah, you know, I get that a lot. God forbid you say, why are you talking to me, devil? Do I look like I'm somebody you could talk to? Or if you ignore them, they come up with an autograph. Can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph? You say, nah, man, I'm eating dinner with my family, man. Man, you're mighty rude. What? That's the way that we treated in this place. With all of our riches and all of our wealth, we still get treated like boys, still get treated like somebody that's supposed to shuck and jive and dance. I don't know if y'all know, but when white people walk into these bump into these rappers in real life, they ask them to rap. I watch these live streams now. These young kids, these young white kids get Aiden Ross or get a rapper on his stream, and he'll say, hey, man, spit that bar for me. And the rapper be like, no. Oh, man, come on, man. You don't want to just, just for the people, for the stream. I'm not performing for them. You want to see me rap? You better come to my show. Even that's degrading. You want to see me rap? Come to my show. You got to go out there and rap. Now, you better go hippity hop, hoppity hip. Now, you got to go get into it. You can't just be lazy out there and just rap your song. You know what I'm saying? Many men. Nope, you better get out there with that tank top on and do some push-ups, nigga. Better flex them muscles. 50 Cent got a pull-up bar in the back of the concert, so he could do 50 reps before he go out there, so he could look swole, look beefed up. That's just horrible. That nigga got to go push-ups before he go rap, so his muscles will flex for them. The rapper that sang nasty, freaky songs, he got to go and get freaky before he come out there and sing. You can't be Usher and sing those songs without being turned on. If you're not feeling it tonight, Usher got to pop a Bluetooth before he go out there. He got to get in the zone. He got to go out there and, there go my baby. If he ain't feeling it, then you better do something. Get in the zone, goddamn. Usher one of the good ones. It's been some freaky singers out there. Genuine with the pony. Some of these cats go out there and gyrate in the women's face. They go for the crowd of the women and just do the humping in their face. Listen, you ain't feeling it. You better go get you a Blue Chew or it's a gas station, honey. You better get ready for these fans out there. They want to see some print. You're a rap R&B singer. You don't want to wear tight clothes tonight. Nigga, put it on. Here's the spandex with the this and that. They need to see print. I don't want to show print tonight. You better get it up. You can't go out there. You got to be a shower, not a grower tonight, nigga. Go show. He got to go do whatever it takes to be a grower for the crowd. And it's a horrible, evil existence. It's rough. Everybody understands. This is not a new phenomenon. This is not something that just started with us. This has been going on for generations. It's recorded in the Bible that the people who took us into captivity, into slavery, wanted us to entertain them. Keep reading. Psalms 137, verse 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I forget about my people, forget about my homeland, if I forget about our suffering, then let the Lord take away my right hand. The right hand for most men is the dominant hand. And what do you use that right hand with? You use that right hand to punch. You use it to stab, to slash, to pull the trigger. This man, David, is saying, if I forget Jerusalem, if I forget my homeland, if I get comfortable in its entertaining our oppressors, let my right hand lose its cunning. That's a heavy statement. You understand? Verse 6, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Why wasn't this taught to us? This should be education 101 for every athlete, for every entertainer, for every aspiring artist in the Black community. Read Psalms 137 and understand, never forget your people. Understand, never get too rich, never get too comfortable, never get too mighty into your oppressor's way of life that you forget about your people, that you forget about your homeland, that you forget that this is not the land of our rest. Don't you know that so many of these Negroes get with the white man and get money, and they believe they not a part of us no more? What oppression? What slavery? Black people have the same opportunities as everybody. That's someone who's forgotten Jerusalem. That's someone who's forgotten their homeland. That's someone who's gotten so comfortable with the position they received in captivity that they don't even stand for their people no more. That is unacceptable. Being a traitor and a sellout is unacceptable. Being a traitor and a sellout is unrighteous. Being a traitor and a sellout is a sin against God. And it's because of the failures of the church that these athletes and these entertainers and these politicians have forgotten Jerusalem. They've forgotten their homeland. They've forgotten their people. They traded it in to serve the oppressor. Psalms 137, chapter 7. Psalms 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation thereof. Just in case you think I'm twisting scriptures, in case you think this ain't saying what I'm saying it's saying, the Lord, David in the next verse says, don't forget Edom. Who's Edom? Our oppressor today, the so-called white man in the Bible. As David is talking about going into captivity, being forced to sing songs, being forced to forget our homeland, being asked to entertain our oppressors, who is he talking about? He's talking about the white man. And he's asking the Lord, don't forget them, because they were the ones who was cheering in the day we were destroyed. They were the ones cheering in the day that we had to suffer for our iniquity. Who's cheering today while we in captivity? Who's buying the $1 million New York Knicks tickets? Who's clamoring to watch the battle for the finals? Who's clamoring to watch the World Cup and watch these great athletes run up and down the court? Who's signing these $1 million contracts? It's Edom. Same people. Thousands of years later, generations later, the same people who oppressed us in the past are the ones oppressing us today. They are their forefathers. They are their ancestors. And so are we. Here's what David asks. Let's see if David says, Lord, let us be at peace with them. Lord, let us join them. Lord, let us be all together in one humanity. Let us put all bygones be bygones. Let us put the past in the past. Let's all love and kiss one another. Let's see if David says, Lord, let us all be gathered together in a covenant under the king that comes and sacrifices himself. Let's see if David, who's understood the horrors that we suffered, if they sang about joining their oppressors, if they sang about joining their slave masters. Let's see what David requests of the Lord for the people who sang and danced and cheered while we suffered. Let's see what this man of God wanted. We want to be men of God, right? We want to be women of God. Let's see what the men of God asked of the Lord while singing about being oppressed, while singing about being in captivity, while saying, Lord, please don't never let me forget my homeland. If I forget my home, let my hand lose its cunning. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. Guess what? If your right hand don't work, if your tongue stuck to your mouth, you can't sing and dance. You can't bounce a basketball. You can't run a football. This psalm is saying, if I forget my people, let me lose my gifts, lose my abilities. In exchange for what? If I remember my people, if I never forget my people, Lord, remember Edom. Remember them singing and dancing and cheering in the day of our destruction. Here's what he asks for the Lord to grant us if we never forget Jerusalem, if we never turn our back on our people, if we stand and become who the Lord called us to be. What is the reward? What do we get in exchange for it? Psalms 137 verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewards thee as thou reward has served us. Ooh wee. Happy are the people going to be that gets to make our oppressors fight in the arenas. It gets to make our oppressors compete in athletic competition, bashing their brains against each other, tearing their ACLs, tearing their Achilles. You understand? Catching concussions. There's going to be athletic events in the kingdom of heaven. And you know who's going to be the star athletes? White people. In the kingdom of heaven, niggas going to own the basketball team. Niggas going to own the football team. Niggas going to own the soccer team. And white people going to compete. Except it won't be football. It won't be basketball. It won't be soccer. It'll be capture the lion. We put a hungry lion out there with 70 devils. And you got to go with your bare hands and feet, go catch the lion. And we're going to cheer and watch to see if there's any Caucasian men that make it out of this lion pit. And we're going to cheer the lion on. As soon as they think they about to defeat the lion, it could be they got the lion down, they 2 on his leg, 3 holding the lion in a head chokehold. They got the lion legs, they tied him up. We're going to release 5 more lions in the arena and let the lions eat them all. And we're going to cheer while they get ate to death. And they're going to say, that was a hell of a chase the lion game we saw. It's a hell of a chase the lion last night. Did y'all see the chase the lion last night? Yeah, man, them lions went to work. Yeah, man, them devils, they thought they was the crocodile hunter. They thought they was, give me some names. Jeffrey Osborne. That just sounds like a devil name out there hunting something. Jeffrey Osborne, they thought they was Jeffrey Osborne. They thought we're going to remember the great white hunters in the kingdom of heaven. And we're going to tell these white people, man, go ahead and be like, come on, man. Who the one that got stabbed with the stingray? Go ahead and be the crocodile hunter, man. Go catch the lion. Don't you know that at one time y'all used to catch all the lions? Y'all used to have lions in zoos, man. Go catch the lion. We're going to have go pet the gorilla games in the kingdom of heaven. I want to be in charge of the pet the gorilla team that play for, the city of Zion. The city of Zion gorilla petters. And we're going to have a gorilla, put the gorilla out there that's in heat. Gorilla in heat in the middle of mating. We're going to snatch the gorilla from mating, throw him in this cage with 7 white men. And it's going to be pet the gorilla. And the white man that can go and pet the gorilla and get away clean, he wins. Those who don't, you got to go play catch the lion. We're going to make them play pet the gorilla, catch the lion. And they're never going to win. Even when they win, they still going to lose because that's what they did to us. Am I making this up? The Bible is saying serve them as they served us. I just know this is what I'm saying in the kingdom. We're going to have them play these games because you know what? Nobody wants to see white people play basketball. Why the hell would we have basketball in the kingdom of heaven if black and Hispanics are in rulership? Nobody wants to watch white people play basketball, so we're going to have new games. Catch the lion, pet the gorilla. You understand? Eat the chicken beaks. We're going to have a eating competition. White people love eating competitions, right? 4th of July, they're going to eat all the hot dogs. We're going to have eat the chicken beaks competitions. We're going to have food shows where all we give our oppressors is mud and leaves and, dirt. And you got to make a meal. Make a meal out of this mud and these leaves and this dirt. And we're going to watch white people compete to make a meal out of the leaves and the mud and the dirt. And whoever wins, you get to eat your meal in front of everybody. That's going to be entertainment in the kingdom. Everybody understands? So like you're reading on, this is Psalms 137 verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewards thee as thou hast served us. Verse 9, happy shall he be that takes and dashes thy little ones against the stones. In the kingdom of heaven, pinatas are going to be white children. The children of Edom are going to be pinatas in the kingdom of heaven. Am I making this up? Am I out of my black mind? Am I radical and crazy with what I'm saying? Happy shall he be that takes the little ones and dash their head against the stones. It's going to be pinata day in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to round up our oppressors' children, and we're going to find the ones with the squishiest heads. I like the ones with the big, ugly melon. Give me the one with the big, man, what's them people that was called Neanderthals? Give me the one with the Neanderthal skull. I want all my pinata day. I want all my pinata children sourced from the Netherlands. I want my pinata children sourced from Greenland and Poland. I want the choicest, biggest magnum cranium skulls of devils to bash against the stones. We're going to play pinata day in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to round up Edomite kids, find the biggest, juiciest skulls, and we're going to smash them against the stones. Watch the blood squirt out and squeak out. Watch the brains run down. We're going to have replays. Look at this one, y'all. Look at this one, Yawanathan. Yeah, y'all was stop. That was wild, wasn't it? Yeah, Kathum. Yeah, y'all. Yeah, Thun. Yeah, Soccer War. That was crazy. Look at how the blood squirted out of this one. And it's going to be wonderful and amazing. And it's going to be beautiful. And if you can't understand that, if you don't understand that that's justice and that's love and that's the promise of God in the Bible, you don't know the truth. And you don't want the truth. See, this is the part of the Bible that people don't want to hear this. This ain't not my God, not my Jesus. You right, nigga. Not your God, not your Jesus. But it is the God of the Bible. It is the Jesus in the Bible. Don't you? I'm trying to work these cameras. Don't you know that Jesus in the Bible said that when he come, he's going to say, bring those who would not serve me. Bring them before me. Bring them hither and slay them before me. Jesus is going to love to watch heads get chopped off because these were the people that wouldn't obey you. These were the people that wouldn't serve you. And you think that's cruel. The Bible says when Jesus come back, his garment is going to be soaked in the blood of his enemies, meaning the fringes on the bottom of his garment is going to be dipped in blood. Why? Because he's unaliving all the sinners, all the evildoers, so much so that he walks through blood, puddles of blood. That ain't your Jesus. That ain't your God. That is the God of the Bible, though. That is the Jesus of the Bible. He's waiting for us to become a nation that deserves salvation so he can come and unalive our enemies. He can come and take the slave masters and put them and make them the servants, and take the servants and make them the masters. That's what the Bible is about. You want to love everybody? Loving everybody ain't in this book. Men that loved everybody ain't in this book. Everybody coming together. How dare you say we're going to come together with the people that made us play in their goddamn arenas? Made us sing and dance and shuck and jive. They don't go to the same place we go. They don't get salvation with us. There's not a kingdom for them. They in their kingdom. We're going to get salvation. We're going to get a kingdom. And when we do, white people going to play chase the lion and pet the gorilla and eat the chicken beaks. And we're going to watch and we're going to laugh. And then maybe once a year, once a month, we'll have Pinata Day. We get to go and get Edomite children with the big skulls and dash their heads against the stones. And we're going to be happy about it. We're going to cheer about it. Yeah, in the arena. Ah, yeah. And they're going to say them niggas are crazy. We live in such a cruel oppression. We being ruled over by such a horrible, evil empire. You're right. You're right. Maybe evil to y'all, but to those who have earned it and deserved it and got delivered, it's going to be sweet justice. But that justice comes from the Lord. That's not nothing that we do of our own. The bread in the circus is designed from our oppressors, by our oppressors, to keep us from recognizing the evil of the times we're living in. Do not be disillusioned by the New York Knicks winning the championship. Don't be, thrown off by, the World Cup. Don't be convinced that America is not the evil, sinful kingdom on the earth that hates the Hispanics and Native Indians. Don't forget that ICE is still out there locking people up and deporting them, even while these countries are over here playing FIFA. You know who ain't got to worry about ICE? The athletes. Because they are here to entertain. They are here to sing. They are here to dance. And as long as they sing and dance and shut their goddamn mouth, they ain't got nothing to worry about. The Bible says that it's evil. It is evil to sing and dance and shut your goddamn mouth. You understand? Now, if you ain't equipped to speak, that's what the men of the Lord for. You athletes and entertainers out there, you ain't got to open your mouth. You ain't got to put your career on the line. Just pay your tithes to us. We already doing it. We'll put our lives on the line. We'll be the voice to speak about the evil that you are enduring. But to just get rich and get money and forget about your people, that's a sin against God and it's evil. With that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2026, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. With that being said, all you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. I teach these classes Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes on Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all tomorrow for class. Shalom.